I can just get off at the next light. I can walk from there.
Oh.
So the movie opens with a girl named Claire, and the first thing we notice is that she keeps repeating something to herself, over and over. Everything she says and does is part of God's will. She says it like a mantra, almost like she needs to believe it to keep going. Claire also has a recurring nightmare. A mysterious man kills a baby deer in the dream, and it always ends the same way. She looks down at her own hands, and they're covered in blood. These images have completely taken over her head. During the day, Claire looks like any other student. She lives in a small town with her grandmother, Gigi, who used to be a well-known and very successful actress. One afternoon, Claire finishes her classes and heads to the bus stop to go home. Two friends show up and point out a notice on the board. Bus service is down for now. Claire starts getting ready to walk home. Then, a car pulls up beside her. A stranger leans out and asks for directions. Claire hesitates. The man pulls out cash and shows her photos of two little girls, his daughters, trying to come across as harmless. He offers to drive her home in exchange for her help with the directions. Claire figures it saves her a long walk and gets in. Once they're moving, she starts noticing things. The inside of the car is filthy. Then a phone rings in his pocket, even though he just told her his phone was dead. He reaches over and locks all the doors. Claire asks him to stop at the next place they reach. He keeps driving. That confirms it. Claire wraps the seatbelt around his neck and starts strangling him. The man loses control and the car crashes in an isolated spot. Claire crawls out of the wreck, carefully wipes down everything she touched inside, takes a knife from her bag, and finishes him off. And right there, the whole setup flips. Claire was never the victim in that car. He was. That evening, she gets home and quietly washes the blood off her shoes, her clothes, and her weapons. Inside the house, her friend Juliana is waiting for her. They were supposed to study together for an exam, and Juliana wants to know where she's been. Claire says she waited for her at a place called Goat's Cafe, but couldn't send a message because her phone died. Since it's already late, Juliana stays for dinner before leaving. On her way out, she casually mentions that Goat's Cafe was closed all day for a private event. Claire realizes Juliana knows she was lying. That night, alone in her bedroom, Claire senses someone else is there. She starts talking to Bob, the ghost of a mailman she accidentally killed some time ago. Bob tells her the car crash is going to bring serious trouble the next day, and she needs to prepare herself. Claire brushes it off and tells him to leave. At school the next morning, Claire overhears Juliana and their friend Amity talking about a student named Teresa Holmes who disappeared the year before. Apparently, the suspected kidnapper always used the same method. He showed girls pictures of his daughters, asked for directions, and offered them a ride. The girls who got in were never seen again. Claire realizes the man she killed was almost certainly Teresa's kidnapper. Detective Timmons shows up at the school that same morning to investigate the man's death. He asks Claire where she was between 2 and 8 the previous afternoon. Her mind goes blank, and she scrambles to put together a story. Her nervous response makes Timmons suspicious, but without any physical evidence connecting her to the scene, he has to let her go. On her way home, Claire runs into Wade, who used to date Amity. He offers her a ride and invites her to a party at his house that night. She says no at first, but Bob later pushes her to go, so she changes her mind. At the party, she meets a mutual friend named Truman, who takes a bunch of photos of the group. Claire goes inside with him and actually has a decent time. At one point, the two of them share a close moment. Wade notices and clearly doesn't like it. Later, Claire goes upstairs to use the bathroom. Right then, the police show up after noise complaints from the neighbors, and the party falls apart fast. Claire slips into a nearby room to avoid the officers. Moving through the dark, she knocks over a pile of photographs. When she picks them up, she freezes. They're pictures of girls, multiple girls, all of them looking heavily drugged and unconscious. One of them is Teresa. Claire puts it together immediately. Wade may be connected to these disappearances. Wade walks into the room right then and asks what she's doing. She plays it off, says she was hiding from the cops and just wants to go home. She takes a cigarette he offers, doesn't smoke it, and leaves. The next day, Claire and Amity audition for the school play. Claire tries to quietly ask Amity if Wade was ever violent or pushed her into anything while they were together. Amity immediately gets defensive. She accuses Claire of sneaking to her ex's party and shuts the whole conversation down. Claire goes home and searches online. Girls have been disappearing from their campus for years. None of them have ever been found. She goes to Juliana and tells her everything. The photos she saw, what she thinks is going on with Wade. Juliana won't hear it. She says Wade doesn't even drink, let alone use drugs, so there's no way those photos are connected to him. Then she accuses Claire of going to the party because she wanted to get close to Wade. Claire walks away. Both attempts to warn her friends have gone nowhere. Later that day, Claire spots Timmons coming toward her in the hallway. She ducks into the theater and locks the door. Inside, she meets Mr. Edwards, the director of the school play. He offers her the male lead role opposite Amity. She says yes without hesitating. Timmons keeps knocking on the door, so Claire tries another exit. He's waiting there too and brings her to the dean's office. In the interview, Timmons tells her a witness spotted a red-haired girl at the bus stop the afternoon of the murder. Claire sticks to her story. She says she was at the bus stop and didn't see any suspicious man. Timmons points out there's a 3-hour gap in her timeline that she hasn't explained. He doesn't have enough to arrest her, but he gives her a hard warning before letting her go. Back at home, Claire can't stop thinking about those photos. The idea that her friends might be targets won't leave her alone. She starts drinking heavily. While she's intoxicated and going through Bob's advice in her head, she breaks into an abandoned house nearby. Inside, she finds a video camera and more photographs. Photographs of herself and other girls. Pictures that look like they were taken by Truman at Wade's party. Claire now thinks Wade and Truman are working together. The next day after rehearsal, Truman tries to talk to her. Before he can get a word out, Claire punches him in the face and tells him to stay away from her. Truman is completely lost, but she doesn't give him the chance to respond. On the way home, she gets the news. Juliana has gone missing. Claire is gutted. She warned her. She tried twice. Juliana didn't listen, and now she's gone. At home, things get worse. Gigi has gone through Claire's room and found a bloody knife in a drawer, the weapon from one of her murders. When Claire gets in, Gigi confronts her with it and demands to know what's been going on. Claire can't explain. The town has also imposed a curfew because of the disappearance, which means Claire can't legally go out to look for Juliana. The two of them argue until Gigi draws the line. She tells Claire she already lost her daughter, and she can't lose her granddaughter too. She forbids her from leaving. Claire waits until Gigi is asleep and slips out. She goes to a church and kneels in front of a statue of the Virgin Mary. She apologizes for everything she's done and asks for guidance. When she looks up, Mary's face changes into Juliana's. In the vision, Juliana is crying for help. Claire takes it as her answer. That night, she breaks into Truman's house and confronts him. She wants to know who made him take those photos and why a camera with pictures from the party turned up in an abandoned basement. Truman is terrified. He tells her his camera was stolen during the party and he has never seen those images before. But he looks at one of the photos and recognizes the location in the background. He says it looks like a house where he once worked on a modeling shoot through an advertising agency. He gives Claire the address. Claire knocks on the door of the house. A man answers. She pretends to be a worried girl looking for a missing friend and asks if she can use the bathroom urgently. Once inside, she asks for a glass of water. She knows exactly what kind of situation she's walked into, but she keeps playing the role of someone who has no idea what's happening. As expected, the man puts something into her drink. While she isn't looking, she drinks it. She collapses. He carries her to the basement and ties her up. Claire wakes up and finds Juliana nearby, still unconscious and restrained in a chair. While she's getting her bearings, she overhears the man on the phone. His name is Randall Morton. He's the identical twin brother of Joe Morton, the man she killed after the car crash. The two brothers ran an organized human trafficking operation together, kidnapping women and delivering them to wealthy clients, one of whom is named Gibbs. Randall also mentions on the call that someone new has recently joined the operation since Joe died. A transport vehicle is on its way to collect Claire and Juliana. It's arriving in 1 hour. While Randall is occupied, Claire works through her restraints and cuts herself free. She grabs scissors from one of the guards and stabs him. The basement explodes into chaos. Claire fights through it one person at a time and eventually gets hold of a pistol. Then Randall grabs the unconscious Juliana and holds the scissors against her throat. Claire has the gun aimed at him but can't risk the shot. Then, sirens outside. Claire yells for help. An officer comes down into the basement. It's Timmons. And in that moment, everything becomes clear. Timmons was never investigating the crime. He was part of it the whole time. His investigation was about finding out how much Claire knew and whether she was a threat to the operation. Randall gets careless during the standoff and exposes himself for just a moment. Claire shoots him in the shoulder and he goes down. Timmons sees the situation turning and runs. Claire frees Juliana, takes care of the rest of the traffickers, and contacts the police. The evidence she provides brings the entire network down and reveals what the town had been hiding for years. She gets Juliana safe and finally heads home. But something feels wrong the moment she's near the house. She goes inside. Gigi is dead. Timmons is standing there. He offers Claire a deal. They take over the criminal operation together. He also tells her he knows she killed Joe Morton, and he knows about Bob, the mailman, the accidental death that started all of this. Claire looks at her grandmother and tells Timmons he just took the last person she had left. She goes at him with her knife. He dodges it. They fight. And he's stronger. He gets his hands around her throat, drags her outside, and throws her into the swimming pool. She sinks. Timmons watches for a moment and then turns to walk away. Claire comes up out of the water quietly behind him. She reaches up and snaps his neck. After the trafficking ring is exposed, the town starts to breathe again. Juliana eventually goes back to school. Claire prepares for the school play. Backstage, getting ready, Bob appears one last time. Claire tells him Gigi is gone. He says he knows. He tells her Gigi is at peace and watching over her. Then, he gives her one final warning. The mystery of Oak Street isn't finished. There's one last thing she needs to do. He whispers a code in her ear before disappearing. Claire realizes it's a passcode to Amity's phone. She takes the phone, enters the code, and goes through the messages. What she finds stops her cold. The new recruit Randall mentioned on that phone call was Amity. Claire's own friend had been working for Gibbs and feeding the trafficking network information from inside the school. Every time Claire tried to bring up Wade, Amity's defensiveness wasn't jealousy. She was protecting the operation. Claire walks calmly to the prop table. She picks up the fake stage knife meant for the performance and swaps it out for her real one. The curtains open. The play begins. Claire walks out onto the stage and takes her place opposite Amity. A red spotlight falls across her face. Her eyes are full of everything she's been carrying through this whole story. She grips the real knife in her hand. The final chapter of the Oak Street mystery is about to close. And with that, friends, this story comes to an end. Tell us in comment how you like the explanation. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Real Dreams Movie Recaps.